Okay guys, in this lesson we are going to learn about the ways we can write a number. So hopefully you have this printed off and you're ready to take notes. So the first thing I have down here is just a basic place value chart, which I'm sure you're familiar with. But I just want to go over it quickly. So as you can see up here we have the ones, the thousands, and the millions, and each of these are called periods, or if you're teaching younger grades you might call them families. So we have the ones family, the thousands family, the millions family. And as you can see, our place values start with ones, which is the smallest, and each one grows by a multiplication of 10. So we have the ones, tens, and hundreds in the ones family, the thousands, the 10,000s, the 100,000s, and the thousands family, and the millions, 10 millions, and 100 millions in the millions family. And notice that all of them are separated by commas, and that's kind of like our signal so that we know it's the end of a period, okay? So now we're going to work on three different ways we can write a number. So as you can see, this is already filled out with some numbers, so we're going to practice writing this three different ways. We're going to learn how to do standard form, word form, and expanded form. So first of all, standard form, if I look up here, I'm simply just going to write the number as I already see it. So 123,456,789. Okay, that's our standard form. Let me zoom in a little bit. Now word form is simply, you heard me just say it out loud, but I wrote numbers, and this time we're going to still say it out loud, but instead we're going to write the words we're saying. So I'm just going to start with this first chunk, 123. I'm going to try to write kind of small. 123. 23 what? So we look at this comma, and our place value chart tells us that's the end of the millions period. So we know it's going to be 123 million, comma, so we've done this chunk, now we're going to do this chunk, 456, and again, this is another signal that ends the thousands period, so that tells us 1,000, comma, and then our last chunk is just 789. 789. There we go. Okay, so that's the end, the ones place, so we don't have any words after that. So I'm going to read this back to myself. 123 million, comma, 456,000, comma, 789. Perfect. Sorry, I had to squeeze that in there a little bit. Now for the expanded form, if you think of the word expanded, that means getting larger, or I think of it as like spreading out. So what we're going to do is take each number and write the value of it, and then we're going to add them all together. So this one, since it's in the 100 millions place, that one is worth 100 million. Plus, the 2 is in the 10 million spot, so that's worth 20 million. Plus, the 3 is in the million spot, so we're going to write 3 million. Sure, I should have given more space. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to write a little smaller. Plus, now we're on to the 4. 400,000. Plus the 5 is in the 10,000 spot, so that's 50,000. I'm going to squeeze it down here. The 6 is in the thousands place, 6,000. Plus the 7 is in the hundreds place, 700. Plus the 8's in the tens place, so that's 8 tens, which is 80. And the 9 is in the ones place, so plus 9. Okay, so we wrote it in standard form, word form, and expanded form. So now let's kind of put a definition to what we just did. Standard form is when a number is written with numbers, or if you want to say numerals, that's just a fancy word to say numbers. So standard form is just how we normally would write numbers, as you see in the first example right here. Word form is a number written in words. And expanded form, as you can see, we had it all stretched out, but it's a number written as the sum of its digits. So sum just means when you're adding numbers. So the sum of all of its digits added together. Now, if I added all these back together, I will get back to my original standard form number. Okay, there's our definitions. Now we're going to go through, and on the next page, we're just going to do 3 examples. So I'm going to head over here. Let's go to example 1. So in these examples, I'm going to give you a number and give it to you in one of the forms, and our job is to write it in the other 2 forms. Okay? So in example 1, I've given you standard form. So we would read this number as 76,348. So to write this in word form again, and sometimes when you're doing this, you may just need to repeat the number over and over to yourself until you have all of the words. So I'm going to do the first chunk, which is 76,000. So I'm going to stop right there. 76,000. And anytime after millions or thousands, if the number has a comma, our words are going to have a comma in the same spot. So 76,000, comma. The second chunk is 348. 300. I'm trying to squeeze it in. I'll squeeze it right here. 48. Okay, and then I'm going to read it back to myself. 76,348. So I make sure I didn't leave anything out. All right, so we did the word form. Now let's write that same number in expanded form. So again, if you need to use your place value chart for a visual, you can, to tell you the value of each digit. I'm going to show you another trick though. So let's start with the 7. Okay, so if I write, the 7 is in the 10,000s place. So if you think of it as 10,000 times 7, that's 70,000, right? But notice, if the 7's here, how many numbers are after it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that tells me I'm going to have 4 zeros after it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count back 3 to put the comma, so we know it's 70,000. Plus, the 6 is in the thousands place. So that tells me it's worth 6,000. Again, 6 and then 1, 2, 3 zeros. 6, 1, 2, 3 zeros. The 3 is in the hundreds place, so plus 300. The 4 is in the tens place, so that's 40. And then plus 8. 70,000 plus 6,000 plus 300 plus 40 plus 8 is our number in expanded form. And again, if you wanted to check yourself, you could just line these up and add them together, and you should get your original number, because remember, these are all the same number, it's just 3 different ways we can write it. Okay, let's go to example 2. Scooch up a little bit. So this time, I've given you the word form. Our job is to write the standard form and expanded form. So the word form says 23,473,052. Okay, so let's break this down in chunks. I see that there's 2 commas, so I know I'm going to have millions, I know I'm going to have thousands. So let's just do the first part, 23 million. Okay, so I know that's just going to be the number 23, and when I see the word million, that just signals me that's the end of a period, so that's a comma. 23 million. Now the second chunk, 473,000. So write this number. Sorry guys, something happened on my last video. I got cut off, so I'm going to pick up where I left off on the last video. We were in the middle of writing this number. We had written 23,473,000. So I was trying to say, write the number 473, and then the word thousand is our clue word to know that's the end of a period or a family, and to put our comma. And then 52 is the tricky part. So if you go over here to your place value chart, if I cover this up, so the number 52 has 0 tens, but it has, 0 hundreds, but it has 5 tens and 2 ones. So since it has 0 hundreds, we have to make sure we put a 0 in the hundred spot. Because what will happen sometimes is people will just put 52 and realize that the ones period has to have 3 digits and slap a 0 on the end. Well, as you can see, that changes the whole number. Instead of being 52, that makes it 520, which is not the number we want. So we have to be careful and make sure we write a 0 in the hundred spot and then the 52. So 23,473,052. Okay, and then I was carrying on, realizing the video wasn't going, so I moved to expanded form. So I'll let you catch up quickly and do that. So I started with a 2, which is in the 10 million spot, so that gave me 20 million. And remember our trick, keep the 0 and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros. a 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros. Then I'm going to add that to the 3 in the million spot, so that 3 is worth 3 million. Plus, this 4 is in the 100,000 spot, so it's worth 400,000. Plus the 7 in the 10,000 spot, so that's 70,000. The 3 is in the 3,000 or the 1,000 spot, so that's worth 3,000. So I wrote plus 3,000. And then notice, since there's nothing in the 100 spot, we don't need to put plus 0. If you put plus 0, it's not wrong or anything. It's just kind of unnecessary. If you add 0 to something, it's not going to change it. So go to the 5, which is in the 10 spot. That's plus 50. And the 2 in the 1 spot is plus 2. All right, now we're ready for our last example. And this one, I've given you expanded form. 300,000 plus 50,000 plus 1,000 plus 900 plus 6. Our job is to write that in standard form and word form. So one thing you could do is you could stack these and line these up and add them together, which is what I'm going to do actually down here. 300,000 plus, now you have to make sure your place values are lined up or it's not going to help. 1,900, and the 6 is in the 1 spot, so that's where you have to be careful. Let me scoop this up. Okay, so nothing in the 1s column except 6. There's nothing in this column, so that's a 0. 9, comma, 1, 5, 3. Okay, so by doing that, I put it in standard form right there, so it's 351,906. Okay, so we have standard form, and now we're going to use that to help us write the word form. So again, we're going to just do it a chunk at a time. 351, 351, and that's the thousands family, so I'm going to write the word thousand, comma, and we would read this number as 906. 906. I'll squeeze that down there. We don't need to say and 6. I know in real life we might say 906, but when we're writing it, it's just not necessary. The proper way to say it is 906. Okay, so we have standard form, word, and expanded form. So standard form is written with numbers, word form is written with words, and expanded form is written as the sum of the digits and their values. Okay, so go ahead and go on to the next page with the practice problems and use this guide to help you answer those.